Alright boys, those of you who have been watching the trade recaps this week know that I have been in the shit. I took 3 losses coming into yesterday's trade and I fucked up emotionally. I've been in control of my emotions really well this past sort of week. For the first 3 trades I took 3 losses. All of them were good psychologically. And then this one, I fucked up mentally and it ruined a winning trade, or what would have been a winning trade, and turned it into a break-even trade. So I'm gonna jump in here and show you exactly how I screwed up. So hopefully you guys can look at this and know exactly what not to do. I'm looking so swole at the moment. It is so hot here in Australia at the moment. You're just walking around like regularly. You'll just be so pumped up just because it's like 35 degrees. It's ridiculous. But anyways, coming into the day, I'll show you on an hourly time frame what we're looking at. We were seriously overextended, and this was coming into the London session on GJ. And so my thought process for this trade was I want to be taking shorts because we have nowhere further to go higher, and we have good draws on liquidity to the downside with this low, this low, this low, and I wanted to see us come and fill in this imbalance because it was also a 4-hour imbalance as seen. Now, coming into a 15-minute time frame, I need to see a 15-minute confirmation because of the fact that this was a 4-hour high here, and that's just how I play it. I always play it off of a 15-minute. Right here, we see this 15-minute break-of structure. And you can just see here, I mean, these are the ones I'm looking for. You see a clear indication of where price is going to go. All through this Asian session, we've seen slow price action, and then all of a sudden you see a big bearish candlestick. Now this to me, especially after we've just swept out a 4-hour high, that's a clear indication that price is moving and we want to go in that other direction. So from here, all I want to see is a 15-minute retracement, which we get on this next candlestick. We come up and we fill in equilibrium, we fill in this breaker block here, and so from here all I want to do is see a 5-minute confirmation that we are going to go bearish. I also knew that we were sitting inside of this 5-minute fair value gap, so just really good confluences all in all for a bearish movement today. Now, I believe it was this very next candlestick. Yeah, this next candlestick, we get a bearish candlestick closure. We close outside of that breaker block. We close outside of this fair value gap. And that was my entry. I placed stops above that high, and I had a TP1 down at these relative equal lows on the 5-minute, which was also our first hourly low. Obviously, really good risk to reward for this trade. And I was super stoked after I see this big candlestick here. After not taking a win all week and then seeing that your entry gets respected, you're a happy guy, you know? And so from here, I think my psychology, I was just so euphoric and happy that I had caught what I was deeming to be a winning trade. I was just way too happy with what I had found, and that I'd found some sort of success in the charts in my eyes. And so that made it really hard when I'm sitting down here and we've come within 3 pips of my take profit. And my strategy is that I'm not taking profit. Like a lot of people, they'd get emotional at this point and take a profit because it's really close. I need to see a break through the point for me to close half my position. And so I'm sitting here on my phone waiting for it to, push through, and it just didn't happen. And I think that was probably the thing that cooked my trade. We even saw it come down a little bit further here, and then we just reverse. And seeing this after having 4 losses in a row was really hard. And, you go from seeing you're up to almost 2.5 you've almost secured that trade, and then you see it reverse, and I was just like, I was pretty bummed. And so what do? I move my stops to break even because I didn't want to lose. And that was my mistake. My strategy is to wait until TP1 is hit before I move my stops to break even. As seen, I got stopped out here. Now what I should have done, and what my strategy actually entails, is to leave my stops up here and just take the loss. Like, take the loss on the head and come in with the mentality of being comfortable with what I'm risking to start off with, and then just letting price do its thing. And this is the strategy I backtest, and this is the way that, like, all of my data is collected based on this method of leaving my stop loss at the original point until that first take profits hit. So when I'm moving my stop loss like that, it completely fucks with my strategy, and it completely ruins my backtesting and all the data I've collected, because that isn't the data, like, that strategy there isn't the data I've collected. So it was pretty rough last night taking a loss, and then literally 15 minutes later seeing my TP1 and my TP2 was down here. I don't know why that one's marked. But seeing my TP1 and my TP2 smacked after I'd gotten emotional and moved my stop loss. So obviously this movement here, I think this is another thing that I like to be able to understand why the market does certain things. Now, this movement here did not make any sort of logical sense to me, because we've come down, we haven't taken out this low, so we haven't swept out liquidity, and then we've broken structure, and this is a really strong bullish push. So that makes no sort of relevant sense in terms of my strategy and why I think the price would go that way. And I think that was what cooked it for me last night, is I just couldn't understand why price would go up here without sweeping out this low. And obviously after being on the back of a losing streak at the moment, it is hard. But yeah, should have just held, and I would have had a really big day. I risked $250, so instead of getting the break-even fill that I would have had $250 from there after exiting half my position, and I would have had whatever 4 times. I would have had about another $250. So I would have ended the day up about $750 instead of losing, well, breaking even. So yeah, that is what I did last night, and what I'm going to be doing to sort of improve on that is just exactly what I did last night. I wrote down all of my sort of key issues at the moment, and yeah, I'm really just sort of grinding at the moment to knock off these last sort of emotional difficulties I'm having at the moment. And I think that's just the pressure of moving into real money sort of showing itself. But yeah, that's how I lost out on a whole lot of bread last night. Yeah, hopefully you guys can learn something from that. Always stick to your rules. I know it's hard. I know days like this especially, it is just hard to look back at it as well and know that if you had just held it, you would have been fine. But anyways, good luck in the charts today, guys. I will be up with a market analysis in about 4 hours, so stay tuned for that. Ciao.